What if the impossible happened? You're 6 miles up and the plane around you just comes apart. Suddenly, you're falling alone through the empty sky. It's a complete nightmare scenario with a near zero chance of survival. But near zero isn't zero. Now, let's be clear. Modern aviation is extraordinarily safe, and the chances of this are statistically microscopic. But while it sounds like something straight out of a movie, a handful of people have found themselves in this exact situation and, against all odds, lived to tell the tale. They didn't have parachutes. They just had a wild combination of physics, unbelievable circumstances, and a heavy dose of pure luck. So how on earth did they do it? We're about to break down the science, the stories, and the strategies behind the world's most miraculous freefalls. You're going to learn not just that it's possible, but how, and the answers will defy everything you think you know about gravity. The second a plane breaks apart at 35,000 feet, you're tossed into an environment your body simply can't handle. Your first enemy isn't the fall, it's the lack of oxygen. The thin, freezing atmosphere would cause hypoxia, making you lose consciousness within minutes. As you fall, you accelerate fast, but you won't keep accelerating forever. Thanks to air resistance, you'll eventually hit terminal velocity. For a person in a classic spread eagle pose, that's about 120 miles per hour or 193 kilometers per hour. You'll reach that speed in the first 1,500 feet of falling, which takes only seconds. The rest of the fall, which could last up to 3 long minutes, will be at that consistent speed. It's never the fall that kills you. It's that sudden stop at the end. But here's the first bizarre twist, that lack of oxygen that makes you pass out. It might just save your life. Doctors who studied the world's most famous survivor, Vesna Volovi, believe her naturally low blood pressure caused her to faint almost instantly. This sent her body into a totally limp, relaxed state. A conscious person will instinctively brace for impact, making their bones more likely to shatter. A limp, unconscious body, however, is more like a ragdoll. In a strange way, passing out could be the first step to staying alive. To understand survival, you have to look at the people who actually did it. Their stories aren't just about luck. They're blueprints for defying the impossible. First, the legend, Vesna Volovi. In 1972, the 22-year-old flight attendant was on J-80 Flight 367 when a bomb tore the plane apart at 33,333 feet. Vesna was the only survivor out of 28 people. Investigators think she was pinned by a food cart inside a large piece of the plane's tail cone as it spiraled towards the ground. That chunk of wreckage acted as a chaotic, makeshift parachute. The final miracle was her landing spot, a heavily wooded, snow-covered mountainside in Czechoslovakia. The thick branches and deep snow worked together to absorb the impact. She had a fractured skull, broken legs, and crushed vertebrae, but she survived. Then there's 17-year-old Juliane Kopke. In 1971, her plane over the Peruvian rainforest was hit by lightning and it disintegrated. Juliane fell 10,000 feet, still strapped into her three-seat row. Experts think that row of seats auto-rotated, acting like a helicopter blade, which slowed her fall. Her final impact was cushioned by the dense jungle canopy. She woke up the next day on the forest floor with a broken collarbone and survived an 11-day trek through the jungle to find help. Enduring Staff Sergeant Alan McGee was thrown from his damaged B-17 bomber at 22,000 feet with no parachute. He lost consciousness and crashed right through the glass roof of the Cetinaz air train station. The angled roof and breaking glass are credited with absorbing just enough lethal force to save his life. These stories all share a common thread. The survivors didn't just fall. They fell with something, and they fell into something. It's just mind-blowing, isn't it? How a chain of perfect disasters can stack up to create a one-in-a-billion miracle. If you love breaking down impossible scenarios and discovering the science behind them, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what we explore next. So what can we learn from these stories? If the absolute worst were to happen, what are the key ideas that could nudge your odds up from zero? First, try to ride a piece of wreckage down. Survival statistics show that being attached to debris dramatically increases your chances. Like with Vesna's fuselage or Julian's seat row, a large flat piece of the plane can create drag and slow you down, while also absorbing the first brutal shock of impact. Second, your body position matters. If you're in a true free fall, adopt the classic skydiver's spread eagle position, arms and legs out, back arched. This maximizes your surface area and slows you to that 120 miles per hour terminal velocity. A head-first dive can push you past 200 miles per hour. And that brings us to the single most important factor you might control, Your landing zone, aim for the best, and desperately avoid the worst. The absolute worst surface to hit is something solid, like concrete. The second worst, water from thousands of feet up. Hitting water at 120 miles per hour is like hitting a brick wall. The surface tension doesn't have time to break, creating a brutally unyielding surface. So what do you aim for? You need something that will compress and gradually slow you down. The best landing zones are things that have give. Deep, powdery snow on a slopped mountainside is the holy grail. A thick forest canopy can break your fall layer by layer, just as it did for Juliane Kopke. Marshland or a swamp is also a top-tier choice. You're looking for anything that will crumple, break, and absorb the deadly energy of the fall. For the very few who survive the impact, the ordeal is far from over, as Juliane Kopke's story proved. Surviving a fall from a plane is a brutal equation of physics and sheer dumb luck. The chances are infinitesimal, but they aren't zero. The stories of Vesna, Juliane, and Alan prove that under a perfect storm of improbable conditions, falling with wreckage, passing out from hypoxia, and hitting a surface that cushions the blow, the human body can endure the unimaginable. It requires a chain of miracles, where every single link holds perfectly. The survivors often face immense psychological trauma, but their stories are a testament to resilience. Juliane Kopke even became a mammalogist, dedicating her life to studying the very same rainforest that almost killed her. So while we hope you never need this information, now you know that the line between impossible and possible is sometimes just a matter of a few feet of snow, a row of seats, or a glass roof. What do you think is the most unbelievable part of these stories? The physics of the fall or the will to survive the aftermath? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.